Welcome back to our 74th episode of the Launch Your Farm Show, where I interview Michael J. Maher with ReferCo. In this episode, Michael and I talk about why you need to create a solid plan to generate more referrals in your farm, and how you can easily add in some of these processes right away. And Michael shares how you can follow a simple system using events and follow-up to quickly build a name for yourself and your farm, and to start to generate leads quickly. And we talk about what type of events you should be hosting and how to get more people out to your events. And Michael shares a super easy way to get others to send you an abundance of referrals without being salesy, and how to build stronger relationships by giving back to them. And we talk about how to leverage housewarming parties to gain more trust, generate more referrals, and have fun while doing it. Plus, we share a ton of other ideas that you can use to grow your geographic farm. So be sure to check out this episode, like and subscribe, and enjoy the episode with Michael. Welcome back to another episode of the Launch Your Farm Show. I'm your host, Ryan Smith, and today we got a great guest. It's Michael J. Maher from ReferCo. So Michael, take a second, tell us a bit about yourself and why you're here.
Well, you are much calmer than I am when it comes to easing into the show. I just want you to know, I'm like, what's up? So I will tell Michael J. Maher. I was in Kansas City, had a thriving real estate business. I went from 0 to 37 transactions my first year, 87 my third, 187 my third. I'm sorry, 87 my second, 187 my third, wow. 200 my fourth, 255 my fifth, and that happened to also be 2009, which was the worst real estate market in Kansas City history.
Yeah.
And we actually broke all records selling that year, and we did it through referral. And so I had a referral system, and then a guy named Howard Brinton did an interview similar to this, introduced me to the world, so to speak, and my phone got inundated, my emails got inundated, and everybody wanted to know how we were getting 500, 600 referrals a year.
Yep.
And I would tell them about the housewarming party or the yaps or the events or the networking stack, and I would give them like one thing, but I knew the answer wasn't like one strategy.
Yep.
It was this, kind of like what you do with your CPR. It's a multifaceted strategy to get referrals and to get more business. So I knew I needed to write a book. But like a lot of people who need to write a book, I didn't write one for a couple of years. And then on December 18th, 2007, I actually flatlined after a knee surgery.
Wow.
I had 7 blood clots, 3 in each lung, 1 went through my heart. I was flatlined for 37 seconds. I was resuscitated by the head nurse at Olathe Medical Center, of all places, in Olathe, Kansas. Thank God she was there, saved my life. Right after that happened, I was very emotional, as you can imagine, got a second chance, and I no longer thought about like real estate and referrals and things like that. I thought about like legacy, and I didn't have a kid, so I wanted a kid. Luckily, within 12 months, we had one.
Wow.
And then I thought, I just about died with this system to generate referrals, in my head. And that night in ICU in Olathe Medical Center, I outlined what became, 7L, the 7 levels of communication. And that when that launched in 2010, it changed my life forever. Everybody, I thought it would be like, it'd end all the calls and emails so I could go back and sell real estate. It's like, no, just read the book. Yeah. But after people read the book, they wanted me to speak and teach on it more. So that launched ReferCo, and the rest is history. Now we work with Chick-fil-A and Krispy Kreme and realtors all over the world, and lenders all over the world, financial planners and CPAs, and anybody that is essentially looking to develop a customer service plan and get a lot of referrals is coming to us.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Basically, you're the king of referrals.
I partnered a few years ago with Hal Elrod, a friend of mine, on the Miracle Morning for Real Estate Agents. And, I'm big into rituals. I believe in systems, and, everybody knows that B follows A and C follows B, but are we maximizing A? Are we maximizing B? Are we maximizing C? and that kind of thing. So that was always a part of that. And the 4 enriching rituals straight out of 7L have grown into a life of their own as well.
That's awesome. Yeah, you've been around the block, and if anyone hasn't read your books, I strongly recommend them. They're both amazing books, and I've read both of them personally, and I think it's awesome that you've really been able to share your passion and share the knowledge you've got. And like you said, it's kind of created a life of its own. So I want to go back to those beginning stages of when you were putting those together and kind of coming up with this. Because for a lot of agents, I find in the newer stages of their business, they struggle creating the systems, creating the kind of what they need to do. What did that look like for you when you were creating your referral system?
Yeah, so I think it's very interesting how similar, farming geographically is farming demographically, right? I farmed mostly demographically, and demographic is people, right? Instead of farming a geographic farm, but I did that too, I also focused my energies on farming the people I knew. The sphere of influence became my farm, right? And so I think the first and foremost thing is I had to step up as a leader. I had to volunteer and just say, you know what? When I got my real estate license, I became a leader. I lead people through the most expensive financial investment of their entire life. I can literally put them to destitute if they make the wrong investment, or I can help them be wealthier than their wildest dreams by helping them with real estate. So as soon as I got my real estate license, I had to learn that I was a leader. And once that happened, it really was like, all right, I'm going to start leading a community. And that's the generosity generation. It's my tribe of trust, right? I talk a lot about the tribe of trust. Well, if you're geographic farming, you want to build a tribe of trust of the residences of that area. So the system and the start is very similar. First and foremost is that you've got to realize you're a leader. Even if you've never been a leader, even if you don't know anybody in that area, even if maybe they don't look at you as a leader right now, you're going to do it anyway. You're going to lead them, because if you're always following, you're always reactive. When you're leading, you can be proactive. Right. Leaders are proactive, followers are reactive. So by definition. So it's one of those where, all right, I'm going to be a leader, right? Hyper local leader, if you will.
Yep. And that's part of when I talk about the CPR is that positioning as the ambassador for the community. And that's one of the key parts of it, is really taking that role as, hey, I'm going to put the community first. I'm going to lead them. I'm going to provide value to them. I'm going to position myself as that person who's the go-to and who can bring value to the community, so that people then learn to respect and enjoy what you do and like what you do and trust you. And that's really a foundation that is important, regardless if it's geographic, demographic, or sociographic, whatever you're doing. So that's huge.
The core is love, right? The core is love. What do I do at this point in my life? I help business owners build businesses based on love, generosity, and appreciation. And that, I think it starts with love. Why did I go so fast, so far with my demographic farm? It was because I loved the people. I loved the people that were in my sphere. I loved them. They loved on me. And the way they loved on me was through referrals after many conversations and communications. Well, it's the same thing, I think, with the geographic farm. Is so many people want to pick the $1 million neighborhood, or they want to pick some other neighborhood. And it's like, no, pick the neighborhood you love. Pick the neighborhood. And then it's like, it just happens. Like realtors go and they show, and you learn the lay of the land. And then these neighborhoods just kind of float up for one reason or another. And the first thing we need to do is we need to pick a neighborhood, in my opinion, that we love. Like if I were going to do it, I could not fake it, right? I need to pick I love Symphony Hills in Kansas City. Why do I love Symphony Hills? Community pool. Not a lot of homes in this price range have a community pool. Phenomenal schools, AAA rated Blue Valley schools in the Blue Valley School District. I love it, right? They had Blue Valley schools. And then the location. The location was fantastic in the city. It was easy to go south, easy to go north. And, it started with a love of Symphony Hills. I own a home to this day that we rent out in Symphony Hills because I love the neighborhood there. So I think it starts with love, right? If don't go after the neighborhood for money.
Yep. 100%.
Go after the neighborhood for, you either love some of the people already live there, or you love the neighborhood and you can, you need. And by the way, my first communications with the neighborhood would be, I love your neighborhood and here's why.
Yep.
And if it's your own neighborhood, maybe that's the easiest place to start.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's important that you do have a vested interest in it, and whether you live there or not. And I've had people come through my training and someone asked, well, there's not a lot going on in my neighborhood and there's not a lot of positive things. I'm like, well, then you should find another neighborhood that does, because if you can't sell that neighborhood yourself, and if you're already saying there's not a lot of good things going on, then you probably need to find another neighborhood, or switch your mindset around what you do and find
Sometimes
things.
we know too much,
Yeah.
right? Sometimes we know too much. We know, that somebody's dog was hurt, or we know that there's a bunch of complaining about the clubhouse, or and it's like, you know what? Sometimes it's better just to maybe go to another neighborhood where it's like, all right, look around. What do you love? If you don't love any of the neighborhoods, you're going to have trouble selling real estate. And if you don't love any of the people that you're going to have trouble selling real estate. It's just how it works.
100%. So building referrals obviously can take some time. So what do you think is that kind of core foundation? You said start with love. What really do agencies to do to start to build those relationships? Because they may be new, maybe they don't have a lot of experience, they don't have a large database. If they're looking to get into their farm and then start to get referrals, what are those kind of first steps that they should be taking?
It's so amazing. That's a great question. I'm going back and watching Game of Thrones. Do you remember Game of Thrones?
100%.
I don't know if you watched it or not, but it's just like how did they get into these castles? How did they get into these forts? It really helps if there's somebody in the fort that can open the gate for you.
Yeah.
Right. And it's the same way with like geographic farming is, if you know somebody in there, then that's the best way to start. If I had 5 neighborhoods that I'm looking at, then I'm going to pick, those are my 5 favorite out of Kansas City. Pick the 2 that the most people in, 3 or 4 or 5 people, even if you've never sold them real estate, but the people. And they're going to be the gate openers. I'm going to have a meeting with 4 or 5 of them, and I'm just going to say, hey, listen, I love your neighborhood. It's one of my top 5 neighborhoods in the city. Now, listen, I want to sell homes in there. I want to sell homes. So how should I go about that? And then you need to shut up and listen.
Yeah.
And just learn and learn and learn. It's the Board of Advisors concept right out of 7L. The Board of Advisors concept works for any demographic or geographic farm. Find your Board of Advisors, ask them a ton of questions, follow their advice, and see how it goes. And then when it goes, report back to your Board of Advisors that, hey, listen, I did it, and here's what happened. Even if it didn't work, right? If it doesn't work, sometimes it works out better for you because the advisor feels like some obligation or some guilt or whatever it is. And it's like, oh, well, let me help you another way. Yep. So the other thing too is sometimes the most important group in a neighborhood is going to be the homeowners association, right? The HOA. So partnering with the HOA would be one of my first goals to get referrals in a neighborhood, right? Is because that's going to then go to my strategy of getting referrals, which is, the YAPs, which are yearly appreciation plan, and the yearly ambassador program. The yearly ambassador program is for people you already know and you want to keep them referring you. It's private, exclusive. It's not all over social media. And then you've got the yearly appreciation plan, which is very public. Everybody knows about it. It's all over. You're communicating to the world about it. Well, I'm going to create a yearly appreciation plan for the neighborhood, which is going to include events. People ask me all the time, how'd you get 500 referrals a year, in your 3rd year on? And it was events, essentially. Now, was that everything? No. You got to be referable, which is character, competence, and communication, right? You got to have character, competence, and communication as a baseline for what you're doing. Same thing with a demographic farm or a geographic farm. Yep. And then in my opinion, I'm going to have 3 or 4 events at the neighborhood. And so let's say it's an Easter egg hunt and it's a summer party and it's the clubhouse Thanksgiving, Pie Day. Let's call it Pie Day, right? Yep. I'm going to do those 3 for the neighborhood. Now I'm going to do them whether I get permission or not, right?
Yeah,
But here's what I'm going to do first is I'm going to talk to the homeowners association about what events they already do, and I'm going to partner with them
yeah,
and learn from them and add and figure out what that looks like, right? So, and then, once you get to the point where you've got an event that kicks 12 weeks of really powerful communication off. You've got 7 weeks of invitation. You've got a week of confirmation. You have the event, and then you have 3 or 4 weeks of follow-up after the event.
Yep.
And, you put 3 of those together. That's my yearly appreciation plan. So that's what I'm going to do, right from the get-go. And that's how, we're going to kickstart it. And I also look at a geographic farm like a little bit of a game of Risk, right? Is what are the areas of the neighborhood? So for Symphony Hills, they had a park up front, really nice park.
Yep.
They had a really nice clubhouse, and then they had a pool, which was near the clubhouse. Well, all right, I want to do something super memorable in the park that nobody will ever forget. I want to do something super memorable in the clubhouse that nobody will ever forget. And I want to have the pool party of all pool parties with ice cream, with mascots, with something, right? That they will never forget, right? And then I'm going to do those every year, right? Every year. And the homeowner association will change, the residents will change, things will change, but I'm going to be the constant.
Yeah.
And that, that's the power right there is, you've got to have a reason to communicate with the people. Like, you say all the time, no, you could send postcards, but if your the whole thing is going to rely on postcards, you're going to be very broke very soon.
exactly.
And
the
door
time to
knocking,
take the
same
trust.
thing. You want to get chased out of a neighborhood faster than anything? Start door knocking a neighborhood, right? I will tell you, ours is a no solicitation neighborhood. I live in East Hampton and Marietta, Georgia, right? I'm telling you, if a realtor tried that, they would be blackballed forever.
Yeah.
And it's just like those two are tough. It's straight, 7 levels of communication, right? Straight out of the book, where if you're going to do this, you've got to do it at the highest level, which is one-on-one meetings. It's events and seminars, and it's phone calls supported with handwritten notes. And that's one of the first things that I would do. Yours is Launch Your Farm. I'm writing handwritten notes to everybody in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
I'm going to write a note, introduce them, and let them know, hey, listen, I have a vested interest, or I love your neighborhood, and I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm not looking for business. I'm not looking for referrals. I'm just introducing myself to you because you're going to be seeing some stuff from us over the next 30 years of your life.
And that's the layering part that I teach. I call it strategy stacking, and you're obviously a big fan of that too, where you put in multiple things. There's multiple touches, there's multiple communication points, there's multiple value adds that you're doing. It's not just a standalone thing. And a lot of traditional farming teaching has been just send out this letter, this postcard over and over and over, or just door knock and asking people are going to be making a move. And the reality is, in order to attract the right people and the most amount of people, you need to reach people in multiple ways so that they do get to know who you are. They do build that trust, that they know that you're that person who really is looking out for them in the community. But you have to spend the time to do that. And a lot of agents I find don't want to put the time in and don't want to put the energy in because they're afraid of losing money. They're afraid that it's not going to work. And the truth is, you need all those multi-prongs to gain that trust quickly. And that's how you're going to get the referrals. They're going to get referrals because people do see you coming from different avenues, from different sources, from different giving different things back to the community. Then they go, okay, now I can trust Ryan. Ryan's a person that I know is here for the long haul, and that he cares about the community. And that's where you're going to start to see that trust rise, which is huge.
That's right. And it could happen with the very first phone call. It could happen with the very first event. And you're talking about a multimodal approach. That's why I teach the events, especially right now, because here's the thing. Like, if I called you 7 weeks before an event and I said, hey, I'd love you to come to this event. If I called you 6 weeks before, if I called you 5 weeks before, and then I called you 4, it's just hounding. It's honestly, it's going to be detrimental to the relationship, right? Yeah, I'm bothering you essentially. But if I send you a save the date postcard. And then the next week you get a email from me. That is the invitation to the event. And then the week after that, you get a video email invitation. And then the week after that, you get a video text that just says, hey, listen, I wanted to make sure that you knew this was happening. And then you get a phone call from me. And then, maybe you get a handwritten note from me the next week. And, well, if that's the approach, the thought of the recipient is not bothering. It's, man, Michael really wants me to go to this event, which I do, So the multimodal approach gives the stronger effect than if you just said, I'm gonna bore through these phone calls. I'm just gonna call everybody until I don't have anybody left. And the multimodal approach is more effective, and that's what I love about an event is it gives you all the multimodal approaches. It gives you something to put on there. It gives you a reason to reach out and communicate.
And certain people are going to resonate with certain things as well. So someone may resonate with that phone call. Someone may resonate with the text message. Someone may resonate with the handwritten note. And you're going to attract people in different ways and connect with people in different ways. And that's really where that value lies too, in that they go, okay, hey, they've contacted me different ways. I've got different value along that process. And then there's more likely that you're going to build those relationships and, again, get the referrals as well. So I want to dive into then the getting people to the events following up after the events, because I find a lot of agents drop the ball that way. They've got an event, they put it on, they get some names, they get some phone numbers, they get some contact information, and then don't really do anything with them. They think that the event itself is the money maker.
The end all, right?
What do you see as best practices for agents to build relationships after that?
Yeah, so the energy is in the event, the power is in the invitation, and the fortune is in the follow-up.
Yeah.
Right. So the energy is in the event. That's the thing that creates the energy for all the 7 touches before or 8 touches before and all the 4 touches afterwards. Right. If you're following up after an event, you're not bothering people. You're actually professional. Wouldn't it be great if people would actually follow up after you buy something or follow up after, an event just to thank you for coming or thank you for buying? We do this with dentist offices. They go to the dentist office and they do whatever they do. And then the gal actually calls them, within 4 hours after the appointment and just says, thank you so much for coming in. We appreciate you coming by, our dentist office. And it's just like, just that one little touch is worth it. That becomes referable.
Yeah.
So it's the 100%. Same way with us and events. We believe in 4 weeks of follow-up for most events, depending on how many people are there. But there are essentially 4 or 5 groups of people that you want to follow up with. And the first and foremost group are the ones who give you referrals. You literally want to call them the next day. Yeah. And you want to have the following type of format to your follow-up, which is you're going to call the referral source first. Like, say they give you a name. Let's say A refers B, right? Yep. You're going to call A first and just say, thank you so much for the referral. Please know that regardless of the outcome of this, I really, really appreciate the opportunity. Tell me a little bit more about B, right? And then tell you, right? Or it'll be super short, or they'll go into this long, drawn-out conversation that they had with them at work or whatever it may be. Yep. And then you're going to call B. And you're going to call and just say, hey, listen, A, let me know that you were called. Did A call you or text you and let you know that I'm calling? B says, yes, he texted me. Yep. And you talk to B and you have a good conversation with B. The next step is to report back to A. And if you leave a message for B, let A know you left a message. Mm-hmm. If you talk to B, text message the A back and let them know, hey, listen, I just wanted to let you know I had a great conversation. I'll let you know more later. Yep. Right? So that's the follow-up of a referral and the referral source. And then the attendees, people who came but didn't refer you. And the attendees are going to just get a thank you if you want them to go, right? I have this saying, what you appreciate appreciates. Yep. So, like I said, I help people build their businesses on love, generosity, and appreciation. So we have all these strategies under appreciation that are super effective for getting more referrals and attracting more customers. So one of those is what you appreciate. So whatever you want more of, appreciate what you have of it. If you want more money, appreciate the money you have. Have a budget. Take care of your money, right? Don't be wasteful with it. And, if you want more great relationships, appreciate the great relationships you have. If you want more attendees, appreciate the attendees that you have.
Yeah.
So we're going to call the attendees and just say thank you. Hey, listen, I just wanted to thank you for coming by and getting the pie. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving. I hope it went really well. That's all I was doing. I was just calling to say thank you. I really, really enjoyed getting the chance, even though it was just a minute, but getting the chance to meet you and chat with you a little bit. And you know what? We're doing Easter egg hunt on, in April, and we'd love for you to bring your family out to that, right? That's it, and hang up. Now, you're also going to call the no-shows and the people who actually said, no, I can't make it. I'm telling you, RSVP regrets, I love them. I love them. They didn't cost me a dime because they didn't come to the event.
Yeah.
But they communicated with me. All we're looking for is communication. So I'm going to communicate with the no-shows and just say, hey, listen, had a great event. I know things happen, but here's the thing. We missed you. Everything okay? And they're like, oh man, I'll tell you, I'm telling you right now, anybody that no-shows one of my events will never no-show another one. they'll either RSVP regrets, I can't make it because I'm out of town or whatever, or they'll show up.
Yeah.
Because they know I care. They know I'm tracking it. They know I know that they weren't there.
Yeah.
And it's like a teacher who takes attendance, right? If you want better attendance, be a teacher who takes attendance.
Yep.
And that's just how it works. And then the RSVP regrets, I love calling them and just saying, hey, listen, we had a great event, but one thing was missing. You. Would have loved to have you there. It would have been great. I have a pie for you if you want it. And here's the other thing is we're doing an Easter egg hunt and would love to have your family there. And you just have the conversation. All right. Then there's this other group. These are for me, the highest level of person in my tribe of trust, in my community, are ambassadors. Ambassadors are people who speak highly of you and refer you willingly and often, right? And if you don't hear from an ambassador, let's say you did a board of advisors for your neighborhood and one of them just kind of ghosted you. You didn't hear from them at all. I'm calling that person and I'm just going to say, hey, is everything okay? We sent several types of invitations and we never heard back. And you'll get things like, I was out of the country, or you'll get, hey, listen, I meant to talk to you about this anyway, but my wife got licensed and she's a realtor and, I feel like we shouldn't come to your events anymore. Okay. Yeah. That's awesome. I'm telling you right now, I would rather know that now than later.
Yeah.
So, and then you have the non-attendees, non-communicative, right? We're going to send a blanket email to all of them just saying, hey, thanks a million. And we're going to put 20 or 30 pictures in that email so that they really missed it. They feel like they would really like to go to the next one. And then, something that I teach with every tribe, and it can be geographic or demographic, is a Facebook page or a Facebook group.
Yeah.
So you need a private Facebook group for them. We're going to put all the pictures in the Facebook group, and we're going to send an email to everybody that says, hey, listen, we took pictures. We need you to go look at them and make sure that they're all okay. If there is a picture you want us to remove, then let us know, and we will immediately remove it. But we put all the pictures in there, even the late at night ones, people. So they will go, they will ask to get into the group. Yep. We let them in. They look around at the pictures. Honestly, we've had maybe two. Aaron and Jeff, over the year, they wanted me to take down a picture of them with a beer, right? Yeah. And it's like, okay, right? They were kind of like, and one of them was, he had a beer in one hand. It was acting like he was going to grab the butt of the guy next to him. It's like, you know what? All right. We took it down in half a second, and I think they were the only ones that saw it. So it's all good. So I think those are the 5 groups of people that you want to follow up with different, different attacks and different styles. But just realize that you're going to get referrals during the invitation process. You're going to get referrals through the confirmation process. You're going to get referrals at the event, especially if you follow our event mastery process. We just had a gal do her first event. She got 8 referrals. I'm talking first ever event. We just had a guy in Kansas City who did his first event and he got 12 referrals, and he gave out, I think it was 36 referrals. I'll have to double check the numbers on his outgoing, but he actually gave his mortgage and photographer, massage therapist. It was like over 20 referrals, less than 40 in that range.
That's crazy.
So, and he made money doing it, right? So he made money holding the event. And that's something we also teach in event mastery. So it's a lot of fun, right?
So how do you find agents are best tying the event to the business without being salesy? Because I find a lot of agents struggle with, hey, I'd like to do something for the community, I'd like to give back, but I don't want to be breathing down people's neck telling them I'm in real estate. How do you find that?
You just don't.
Balance?
You don't talk about real estate at all. Like I did not talk about real estate at all at my events. We did housewarming parties, and just so everybody needs to know is when you move somebody into your farm, you dang well better have a housewarming party. Yes. And here's the other thing about housewarming parties. I accidentally started geographic farming because of housewarming parties. I moved 3 families into a housewarming party or into a neighborhood, and we had invited 3 pockets of people in the same community, and all of a sudden we're getting calls from this community, and like all of a sudden we have like 7 listings in there. So it's like, all right, well, I guess now we're doing business in Woodney Farms, So, and then as we started farming it and did really, really well with that, to the point where we had neighbors going to for sale by owners and telling the for sale by owner that, hey, listen, you're an idiot if you don't list your house with this guy. He's going to get you more than you think you're going to save. Yeah. And, that is a true story.
That's hilarious.
We literally had FSBO hunters in some neighborhoods where they would go and tell the FSBO that they should list with us. And it's like,
that's awesome.
That's cool. Yeah.
Can we talk more about the housewarming party? Because I think that's one of my favorite things that you teach and do. And I think it's very impactful. And it's something that agents, if they took the time to do it, it's not that expensive. It's effective. So can you kind of give the kind of quick version of what it is and how agents can utilize that in their farms?
I mean, what it is that 30 to 45, maybe even 60 days after somebody closes a home with us, a buyer, we are going to throw them a housewarming party. We're going to do all the invitations. We're going to do all the confirmations. We'll do all the food. We ask the owner to do beverages and desserts. We'll provide the food. We always did barbecue, which sells in 99% of the country, right? You can do barbecue basically anywhere, but in Kansas City, people will fight over barbecue. So we did barbecue. And I always tell the owner, hey, listen, on the beverages, if you have beer, I'll drink it. If you don't, I won't, right? So it's like whatever you want to provide, you can provide. Most people did provide beer and water and soda. And that's what I tell them. And it's like, and desserts could be cookies from, Price Chopper, whatever, from the store. And then we would have the party. I would have pointer signs out that just said housewarming party, and it would have an arrow, and it said brought to you by the Maher team in very small letters. There was no Maher marketing anywhere except for I had a plastic stand, like a flyer stand, and in the flyer it said Diaz or whoever, right? So housewarming party brought to you by, and then it would be the Maher team and the other 4, 5, or 6, sometimes even 8 sponsors who sponsored the event. So, the mortgage professional would sponsor the event, the inspector would sponsor the event, the radon person would help, the warranty. Not only did the warranty company sponsor it, but the warranty rep worked almost every one of my housewarming parties.
Wow.
Which I thought was way above and beyond. And we grew our businesses together. It was very cool. And so that's the only marketing in the whole house.
Mm.
And then I would get there 30 minutes early and just make sure they're good. And I would ask the homeowners to give me a tour of the home. I mean, who do you tour through the home, right? It's a friend, it's a family member. And they're, as I grew my team, right after my 5th year, I had to grow a team. It was crazy. I did 187 transactions on my own in my 3rd year, and that was crazy. So I got a transaction coordinator, then I got a showing/buyer's agent, and so on and so forth. And in some cases, I hadn't really met some of these people, So they tour me through the home, and then I make sure everything's good, they're comfortable. I make sure the barbecue is set up. I'm there as a caterer.
Yeah.
More than I am there as a realtor.
Yeah.
And that's and so I set up, and then once people start coming in, I either give them a tour or the homeowner gives them a tour of the house, because most people hadn't seen it yet. And then they start congregating, and they go through and get their food, and when they're there, they've got their paper plates and their drink cups or whatever. And I'm like, hey, are you finished with that? Let me throw it away. Hey, are you, and most people mistake me for the caterer. I mean, they're just like, oh, does this guy work for you? And they're always like, yeah, he worked for me. He's my realtor,
Yeah.
And then about halfway through the event, I had door prize entry forms that were next to the stand. And I had people fill out the door prize entry forms with name, phone number, email address. And then it would have questions about my sponsors, like, have you considered refinancing or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
And then the bottom 3 lines of the entry form was, out of all the people who do you know will be buying, selling, or investing in real estate? And then 3 blanks. And so they could fill it out. I always say, hey, please fill this out completely. And we're drawing for whatever we're drawing for. Yeti cooler was always very, very popular. That was when Yeti was just kind of kicking off and getting started. We did the Bose. These things are money, right?
Nice.
So Bose, the little mini speakers.
Yep.
And then they make them that are floatable Bluetooth wireless speakers, right? Huge deal. So give away something cool.
Yep. Yep.
So they want to fill out the form. And I always say, hey, listen, fill this out. Listen, we're not going to market to you, right? We may communicate and say thank you and that kind of thing, but we're not going to market to you. As soon as you feel like it's marketing, let me know, and we'll take you off the list.
Yeah.
Right. And then so let's say the party's 6 to 8, 7:30 p.m. We've collected all the door prize entry forms. We put it into an Uncle Sam hat or some, glass bowl, and we'll have one of the kids come up, and they'll go through it, and the kids will draw, and it's like, yay. And then, the person that wins the Yeti cooler is awesome. Then I always give something to the kid who did the drawing, right?
Nice.
So some, toy or, whatever it may be, something that made sense for them. And then I would literally just say, you know what, thank you so much, everybody. I really appreciate it. Thanks for greeting me as part of the family. It's been awesome. Really, but the true heroes here are these two. They got into their dream home. This was such a great deal. I cannot wait to sell this puppy in like 7-8 years, and they're going to make a lot of money. But the bottom line is this party is not mine. It's yours. I really appreciate all of you, and we'll see you later, right? And that was it. And I would just kind of leave, and then I would drive down the road, and about 2 miles down the road, I'd pull over. I'd text the homeowners just saying, thank you so much. That was awesome. I loved meeting your family. I loved meeting your friends. Great people. I see why you love them. And, thank you. And then I'd be gone. And one thing that I didn't say about during the party is when I got there early, I would have a little sold sign, and we would go in front of the front door, and I would have the warranty rep take a picture of me with the homeowners in front of their new home.
Nice.
So
That's awesome. So for the viewers who haven't read the book and don't know how that works, what kind of response did you get from that? Because I think it's really impactful to understand the type of referrals and the amount of referrals you get from that, because it's super powerful.
So I got 47 referrals at one of those. I mean, so I would always get 2 to 10, right? And I would say the average was in the 20 range. So, I mean, that's honestly, that was one of the ways that I went from literally like nothing. I had no money. I mean, I was a teacher. I made $26,000 a year and coached 3 sports, So, it was just one of those where that was a big part of the growth. But I think one thing I'd like everyone here to see is the housewarming party is a they party.
Mm.
My events are a we party.
Right.
Right. So we wanna do they party. Another example of a they party is a networking event. Some, like the Chamber of Commerce. So the Chamber of Commerce would have their they event. I would take the they events, and then I would invite the people I met at the they events to the we events, to my events, right? And then that's how I built my community. My tribe of trust was that I would kind of go be looking for the best of the best from outside, and then I would invite them in. Well, when they're the best of the best, other best of the best want to meet the other best of the best.
Yep.
So me introducing them at these events, my events became go-to.
Yeah.
Not because of what we're doing, but because of the people that they're going to meet. And I met a lot of great people that way. So
That's awesome.
I mean, that's the secret sauce of the 7L system right there is,
Yep.
but there's also this underlying thing that people forget is that's the one-to-many strategy. You've got to have a one-to-one strategy, which is when you're meeting with people one-on-one and conversational, is that you've got to be good at that and master one-on-one. Master going from relationships to referrals individually. And then the part that is the base of a lot of this is the one-to-none. And the one-to-none strategy is, first love yourself.
Yep.
Is self-improvement, right? Master your self-improvement, mastery of self, character, competence, and communication skills, right? And so you got the one-to-none and the strategies that pour into that. And then you've got the one-to-one, which is, sales skills and relationship skills. And then you've got event mastery, which is the one-to-many strategy. And when you combine those three, you're unstoppable.
Yeah, that's huge.
And they're easy. You can do it tomorrow, right?
And that's something you've proven. It's not just a pie in the sky idea. You've proven it. The people you coach and train have all done this, and it's something that you can be done over and over, and it's scalable. And that's what I like about it, is that you can scale it to whatever size you want. You can do the events large, you can do them small, you can do them medium, you can do everything in between. And that one-on-one, you can scale that as well. So that's very impactful to build it to what you want it to be. And if you're committed to doing it, you can make it work huge.
It's very insightful for you to notice that, because I don't know of any other referral system in the world that is scalable and leverageable like ours is. You literally can leverage and scale 99% of this.
Yep.
And I love that. I mean, I love it. And that leaves you to do what you're really good at, which is, interacting with people.
That's awesome. So we always wrap up with last piece of advice. So if you were to give advice to our viewers on how they can increase their referrals in their farms and their communities, what advice would you give?
Do what you love what you do, right? That's first. And then if you want to be the most referred professional in a community, be the most generous professional in the community. So every one of our events have a charity arm to them. We believe that all events should have 3 components, and I would say 3.5. 3 is entertainment component, educational component, and a charity component. And then the half is a sponsor component. I believe in partnering with sponsors. I mean, what if you could make money making money?
Yeah.
Right. What if you could make money getting referrals? I mean, that's essentially what you're doing with events and having them sponsored. And then remembering that the appreciative one is the one that seems to increase in worth, and that, what you appreciate appreciates. And, I believe that it's time to, I think it's really time in our world, and I think it's already happening, to replace this insatiable appetite for what we don't want with an insatiable appreciation for what we do have. Right. And I think that's kind of the final words of wisdom is we all have the resources to be successful. It's how we're utilizing them and how we're seeing them. Are we seeing our negatives as positives? Are we seeing our weaknesses as strengths? And that's, my weakness was I didn't like to talk to strangers. I'm an introvert.
Yeah.
So, what I did is I took my weakness and made it a strength. Me being an introvert, what do I need? I need extroverts in my life. And here's what extroverts will do. They'll talk about you. And if you do it right. And the thing is that that's more powerful than an extrovert talking about himself.
Yeah.
So now we've got this system where we create ambassadors and champions who speak highly of us and refer us willingly, and they want to do that. They help us. And I think the biggest thing about referrals that people need is it doesn't have to happen slow. You literally could meet one-on-one with somebody today and walk out of that meeting with a referral today.
Yeah.
We have a system that doesn't just get referrals from your sphere, but you can actually get referrals from strangers, and I think that's the power of it is, I never wanted to wait around for a referral. Like, how do we go make it happen, without asking for referrals, without making other people feel awkward? And the answer is, don't make people feel awkward, make people feel awesome.
Yeah.
And the more people you make feel awesome, the more referrals you'll get.
So awesome. That's all great advice. That's awesome for our viewers, and hopefully they'll take that to heart and then put that in practice in their business. Yeah. So we always wrap up with a best book. So you can recommend a book that's changed your life. You can recommend your own book, any book you think that our viewers would really have an impact in our viewers' lives.
Wow. So I've read over 2,500 books, and I've always been proud of my library, right? So it's like I have this big library, and now I'm like, I don't need a library. Like, I'm in this purge mode. Like, I don't. It's like I don't need all those books. I have the books, right? Yeah. They're there as this decoration. It's almost an ego thing. I mean, it's like, what am I doing with this? So a lot of times when I answer that question, I always want to ask, like, all right, what are you looking for? How are you looking to grow? What are you really looking for information on? But if I had to recommend a book, just like, I think one that jumps to mind is Robert Cialdini. He was an Arizona State professor, and he wrote a book called Influence: The Psychology of Persuasion. And I use now Kevin Hogan is also an expert on persuasion and influence, and very readable. There's also a book called Influencers, which is solid, but the one that really changed the way I thought about things and discovered, you can be influential in a positive way. You can be persuasive in a positive way. How would we use social proof in a positive way, right? And that's events. Like plus like equals two loves. So it's Robert Cialdini, and it's called Influence: The Psychology of Persuasion.
It's one of my all-time favorite books. I love that book. I read that every few years. It's something I think every agent should read, and I think anyone should just read it. It's a phenomenal book, and it just really helps break it down and understand human nature and human persuasion, which is awesome. So
and
how can
I
our
hope
viewers
when they read that is I hope they read Yes, which is his next book, and then I really hope they read Persuasion, which is his book that he followed those two with. Persuasion is a lot of what the 7L system is based on, right?
That's awesome.
So,
great books. So how can our viewers check out what you're up to, connect with you, and find out what you're doing then?
Well, I'd love for people to join the generosity generation and get referrals. That's one thing. If you're listening to this and you want to see what a tribe of trust looks like, join gengen.com is our private Facebook group. Just say that you heard us on Launch Your Farm or from Ryan Smith, and answer a couple of the questions, and we'll let you in. If you don't answer the questions, we won't let you in. So just know that's kind of how it works. We found that buyers buy, right? So, the people that are tribe of trust, right? If you're going to be in a tribe of trust, you should probably be trusting as well as trustworthy. And then I'll tell you something that is very exciting for us. And I'm not sure when you're airing this necessarily or whatever, but eventmastery.com, I literally take a group of people and I hold their hand through 7 weeks to do their event. So every week we meet and we talk about what should you be doing for your event this week, all the way through the event, and then the 1 week of follow-up after the event. And I'm literally teaching that class. It's live, it's dynamic, it's community-centered, And, like I said, I was telling the stories before of Lynn, who got 8 referrals at her first event, and Jim Godwin, who got 12 at his first event. A lot of these people did their first event, and they got, 6, 8, or 12 referrals at their very first event running it the Event Mastery way. So
that's awesome.
We'd love to help people, get involved with that. You can use LYF for a discount code at Event Mastery, and it's half price essentially for those that take it. Trust me, it's worth probably 5 times what we're charging. But I want people to do it. My goal this year is getting people implementation, getting them.
That's the key
to do right. Yeah. We have a system that works. That was our October, November, December meetings with our entire staff. It's just like, we have a system that works. We just need more people doing it. Yep. More people doing it, right? Yep. So what do we need to do? So everything we've done this year in the generosity generation is to support action. So
that's awesome. So we'll put that in the show notes so people can check that out and find out more about you and connect with you as well. So thank you, Michael. I appreciate you being on the show, and I appreciate you sharing that experience and wisdom and knowledge that you've gained from your own experiences and from the agents that you coach and train. I know that our viewers, if they do take these steps and actually implement this, they're going to see results. But like you said, you got to take the action to do that. So thank you for being here and sharing that with our audience.
100% my pleasure. Thanks for doing what you're doing. Thanks for sharing with Launch Your Farm, and anybody that's looking to farm a neighborhood needs to be listening to this every single time the episode comes out. And, kudos to everything that you've done for this industry as well, and just really appreciative of you. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks for checking out today's episode. If you'd like more videos like this, be sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check out our Facebook page and our other social media channels. Looking forward to bringing you more great content like this, and happy farming.